Okay, today on the podcast, I am joined by Oseye Boyd. She's the editor-in-chief at Mirror Indy, and I was just saying before we started going that you've been recommended by several previous guests on the show. So thanks. Nice to finally meet you, and thank you for joining me, Oseye. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you for the invitation and nice to be here.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of like to set the baseline, the same on every podcast. If you could just tell us a little bit about your background, kind of your career, and kind of what's led you to where you're at today.
Yeah, sure. I've been in journalism professionally since 1995. I was a copy clerk for my hometown local newspaper while I was in college. That's how I got started. But I've wanted to be a journalist since I was in the fourth grade. I was in high school newspaper yearbook, started to be in my college paper, but then I got the job at the local newspaper. So, yeah, that's where I got my start. I've been in local news my whole career for for a short stint at Angie's List magazine in the publication department, obviously. I'm working on articles about home improvement.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Angie's List. It's a great resource. Also, good to know.
Mhm.
Um, my wife is on there all the time, but showing me stuff from Angie's List. Good stuff.
Well,
Um,
it's just Angie's now, it's just
oh right,
Angie's.
right. They
Yeah.
rebranded. They rebranded, didn't they? That's right.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about Mirror Indy, like the organization? What do you guys report on about the organization a little bit?
Yeah, so our name really says it all, Mirror Indy. We're a reflection of Indianapolis, the good, the bad, we wanna tell the whole story of Indianapolis. We are focused on the stories that often have been overlooked, ignored, not even realizing they exist. We are here to Best part of our mission, right, is to I call them the unnews, to act and to help people thrive, to connect with people who are not regular news consumers, as well as those who are news consumers, but to give a voice to those who don't see themselves often in media. We are a community-based news organization. We are also focused on accountability, but accountability that comes from community level, that people in the community are saying that they're seeing things or hearing things, want to know about issues and concerns that affect them in their everyday life. We want people to thrive. We want this to be a better city for all. We will tell the real full, multifaceted story of our city. We want to make Indianapolis stronger. So we are hyper local. If that's not clear, we only focus on Indianapolis, Marion County. And so Indianapolis, Marion County are one and the same for me for here, especially because we have what's called Unigov. And Unigov merged Indianapolis and Marion County like decades ago. So unlike some places where you have the city and then you have the county, they're separate. It's all one. Like our city council is called City County Council.
I That's great. I love that. Kind of my origin story of the podcast is I lived in Denver for most of my life. Then we moved out further west in Colorado to a much smaller town,
Mhm.
and we didn't have a great information source. So I got kind
Mhm.
of interested in the hyper local. And I love that you said that you trying to find people that are not, I'm not sure exactly how you phrased it, that are not regular news consumers or
Mhm.
news hounds, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
It's this very important role
Yes.
that it plays. Are you like you have the website, it's primarily digital. Like what other formats is it, like newsletters, digital? What are you guys
We
doing?
are digital. We are digital. We have newsletters, as you mentioned, social media. We're on
Right.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitter, and then our website. Um, try and make sure I'm not leaving out any of our texting service. We have our texting
Oh,
service.
nice.
But we also many people do not consume news via website, read an
Hmm.
article consistently, or even the newsletter. So we wanted to make sure, again, going back to our mission, that we reach people where they're at, that we tell you stories, tell you the news and information you need. And so one way to get that to you is texting. So we have five texting channels, 4 or 5 texting channels that we use to disseminate news and information to people who may not otherwise get it. Yeah, so it's digital. We may occasionally do a print product. We may do a zine here and there, by and large, so we are not print.
Right. Yeah. Print is hard. I talk to a lot of people in like local media, and there are some instances where people are even bringing back print or still
Mhm.
have print, but it's not, It's not where people are these days. That's the kind of the
No.
challenges. You have to be every digitally these days.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to have, like I said, the print products when it makes sense, when it's useful to our audience. Because some people still like to have something
Hmm.
in their hands, especially when it comes to some resources. You know, you don't always wanna go and try to find answers to your questions via Google if you don't really know what question to ask. So sometimes just having the resources, a guide of information in your hands is really easy. That's part of our mission too. Part of our mission is to reach you where you are. It doesn't matter how you consume news. We want to give it to you the way you actually consume it versus the way we feel like you consume it, should consume it. That is what journalism has done um, throughout throughout our history. We print the paper person puts it at your doorstep, you pick it up and you read it. And we just assume people read the newspaper cover to cover. Well, we know that it's not actually what people did. People
Right.
picked and chose what they wanted to read based on their interest. And what the internet has shown us is that we can now see what they're picking and choosing to read. And we can also see how long they're staying on those articles. And we know that we spend a lot of time reporting and writing to see people have spent an hour, I'm sorry, a minute or 30 seconds
Right.
on an article. Or you can see in real time how many people are actually reading your article, while you're in, like I said, in real time. So you can see that there are 5 people on there, or there are 100 people on there. Or there's no one on there. So all these things we can see, and that also shapes the way we try to gain our audience. Is do you need to hear the story? Do you need to read it? Is it social media where you want to go? So do you just need chunks of it? But what do we need to do to get you to get the information? That's most important. It's not important to us that you read this 1,500 word article.
Right.
What is important is if you get the information. And that's not saying that we don't spend time on our articles and we don't still write and it's still an art, it's still a craft. But we also have to recognize that the world's a changing,
Yeah.
and we have to accept it and still do our jobs.
Yeah. I love that mentality. When I had Jonathan Keeling on the podcast from the Institute for Nonprofit News, I believe, is where he's at. And he
Mhm,
told the way he framed it was, historically, like local news, not everybody's a news hound that wants to read what happened in city council. A lot of people want to know what the high school sports score was or
mhm,
the weather. And that's what
mhm,
grabbed people in their attention. And then maybe they'll read about, some of the more maybe
mhm,
important factors going on
mhm,
in there.
mhm.
I also want to talk about as an organization, it seems like I have a lot of people on talk about like newsroom culture and stuff. And, it's important to have a strong culture. One thing just before you hopped on, I was looking through just on LinkedIn and you guys had this kind of shows that in my eye, how cool of a culture you have is you had like a video up and it was almost like a 90s style sitcom
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing. That thing was great. I'll link to it in the show notes, but it's almost like a 90s sitcom intro meets like what's that new show, The Paper?
Yes,
From it's
yes,
kind of
yeah.
like that vibe. I just wanted to throw that out there and I'll link to it. That was really cool how you
Well,
guys
I'm glad you got the
put that
vibe
together.
because we were going for that vibe. We were
Mm,
going for that sitcom, that 90s sitcom vibe, yes.
yeah, it was great. Yeah. And once again,
Very Full
everybody,
House.
yeah, yeah, very full house, even like the font and everything. Good stuff. I'm already going a little off script here. When you were talking about how you're disseminating information in the community. And you were talking about the texting channel. I haven't met many people doing that. Could you tell me? You said it's different streams. Is that like oh, there's a water main broken on your street, like to people, or like this is where you can go vote in the election. Is it like that kind of stuff? Could you
Yeah,
tell me a little bit
that
about what?
and
Yeah, I'm just interested. Yeah.
it's that and more. So we have now I need to actually so we have our In the Mirror, which is the main newsroom texting channel. Then so it's four. It's four channels. So then we have our two of our neighborhood reporters, the West Side and East Side, and have a channel. And then also Tyler's Calling Home. And he's our economics reporter, and it's basically all about calling home. Um, 'Cause, he deals a lot with homelessness in our city, homeless or housing issues. We are in an affordable housing crisis. like many cities are around the country. And so he wanted to call it calling home because he felt like everyone should have a place to call home. And so this is so yeah, it's all those things. We text out articles, we text out information, we ask people, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Hey, here's some cool things to go and do in our city. Let's see. Don't forget to watch the Pacers as they go for this win. Or yeah, it's fun, it's informative, it's all the things. Kind of calling home does a lot of answering questions that people have. Also conversations with those who work in the housing field of dealing with homeless people and resources. The neighborhoods channels, they deal a lot with their what's going on in their specific neck of the woods. Like here's resources, or here did you know this was happening on the east side or the west side, or hey, you might want to attend this government meeting or this event. That's what it's just, it's all the things, trying to serve people and they're growing, but trying to serve people where they are and meet their needs. And like I said, if you don't read a newsletter, because I'm always in a newsletter. I that's I'm always in email. That's just what I do. That's what I do. But I've come to realize not everyone lives this way.
Mhm.
And it's hard it is for me to believe not everyone is in their inbox all day long. And it's not just work, it's personal. I have several inboxes. I have several email addresses and I'm in all of them every day. And when I realize, my friends are like, yeah, when I get off work, I'm done with email. What do you mean you're done with email? Or some people like, yeah, I only go check my email once every so often and see if there's something important I'm missing. And I had to realize not everyone does lives like I do. So how else do we make sure they get the news? I mean, my dad told me one time when I was talking about Twitter and Twitter getting all my news when it was then called Twitter. And he said, oh shit, not everybody's on Twitter. And I was like, really? Huh, I guess you're right, daddy. Uh, and it was like epiphany, mind blown,
Yep.
uh, because we get into our vacuum, into our world, and we think everyone, our silos rather, we think everyone lives the way we do, and they don't.
Yeah, that's a great message for the audience, for this local media audience too. I'm the same way. I'm a huge audio guy, obviously. We're on a podcast right now. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm constantly in my inbox. I'm constantly on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't you don't have any newsletters you read? You don't have any podcasts you listen to?" And people are like, "No, no, I don't." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it it's
I'm
easy
a
to forget
podcast
that."
junkie too. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
a
nice.
podcast junkie too, and so I had to take a break because it was just like I have too many.
Yep. Yep.
But I've listened to podcasts for a very long time now, and when I hear people are just like, "Podcasts? No."
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Okay, why aren't you there yet?"
Yeah, it's hard to it's kind of like almost a siloed media landscape these days
Mhm,
where everybody has their own
mhm,
thing. And
yeah.
I didn't have that in the questions, but I'm glad it came up.
Well, I had a podcast at the Indy Star when I was there, so I
Oh,
was
did
a
you?
podcast host. Mhm,
Oh, there we go.
mhm.
There we go. So you're a veteran. You're a veteran. Some people hop on, it's their first podcast interview, and I'm like, really? I've done 4 today, obviously, because
Yeah.
that's yeah.
My light just went off in the background, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't even notice. So you talked about how you're hyper local in Indianapolis. You talked about the community a little bit there. The housing affordability, that's an issue most places probably these days. But I talked to people from all over the country working in local media. I have not had anybody on from Indianapolis. So I'd love if you could maybe can you talk a little bit about the city, like the communities you serve, maybe even like, what the economy is like there? I'm just not that familiar with Indianapolis. I know the Colts.
Well, I think we're a resilient, we're a thriving city. We are a city that I think often surprises people when they come. That we do have culture here. That we do have a thriving uh, scene of arts and culture life. Uh, we we have um, we have the Market Coalition. I can't think of the exact name of it right now, but anyway, it is an area that is thriving with countries from all over the world. All live like on the
Hmm.
west side. I mean, well, they live all over the city, but there's this area on the west side that you can go to this area and eat. at a restaurant just about from every part of the world that you want to go to. Global Village, Global Village, Indiana, in Marketplace. So it celebrates culture in a way of like all these ethnic groups and people from different parts of the world and countries come here, and we celebrate that. We celebrate the diversity. It doesn't mean there's not challenges, because there obviously always are when you have people together. But we have gentrification. We have nice neighborhoods. We have neighborhoods that are underdeveloped, that are still fighting to be seen and heard and to be stable. And so we're all the things in Indianapolis. Again, we have from the very rich to the very not so rich. I mean, we have everything, and I think Indianapolis kind of gets a bad rap. People think that there's nothing here because we're in, I guess, middle of nowhere, Indiana. People think, or it's corn. But there's more than corn in Indiana. There used to be a slogan that we had way back, and there truly is. I've lived here since 1998, and I've watched this city change dramatically, and just grow and be more of a place where other cultures live and thrive, and welcoming to different people from all over. We have a large Burmese population that
Hmm,
people don't know that we have. We have a lot of Haitian immigrants coming here and that live here now. And that means people bring their culture and their foods and all and their lifestyles. So that means the city is dynamic. It's constantly changing. You know, we're a big sports city, professional sports league. And my daughter's a volleyball player, and we just got our professional volleyball team last year. So
nice.
I mean, yeah. So we have, in addition to the Colts, the Indians baseball team, Pacers, Fever, have hockey, we have soccer, and now volleyball. So we have a lot of things here in the city. We have the G League now. So yeah, Indianapolis has it going on. People often don't know that. I mean, we have our issues, we have our things. We have the cold here too. So if it was like super cold last week. So I'm not a fan of the cold, but it gets hot too. It gets hot. We get all the seasons.
That's great because like I said, I'm from Denver, and it's kind of similar. The U.S. is such a huge place. People get caught up on these
Mhm.
big coastal cities, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's New
Mhm.
York, L.A.
Mhm.
What else is there?" And they're like, "You're from Denver? There's mountains, right?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a lot more than that. I mean, it's a big, So that's why I like talking to people from all over the place and hearing about these different places. And it's good to hear you're a volleyball mom too. I have a couple nieces in Nebraska that are rock star volleyball players. I've been getting really into it. We've been streaming them, which you can do now and everything. So
Yes.
off
Yeah.
topic, but that's fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun sport to watch. I've really
Oh,
been
yes,
enjoying
it
that.
is. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And you mentioned Denver, so I know that from Dynasty. Growing
See,
up watching Dynasty.
and I've never even seen that, and that's the thing with like a lot of I don't want to call them tier two cities or whatever, but it's a fun place. Yeah, that's good stuff. But back to journalism, local journalism, and stuff like that. It's 2026, and all anybody is talking about anywhere is AI. So I have to
Mhm.
ask everybody about it. I like to get different people's opinions, like overall opinions on it, and then I'm always curious to hear if and how people are using any tools like in the organization, how you're kind of using it as it evolves.
Well, my overall opinion on it is probably like many in the industry, caution.
Mm-hmm.
Caution about what it will do to our industry and other industries as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as part of our job too, is to watch how it affects jobs of those who live in Indianapolis, as well as our jobs. We reporters are using, I mean, AI has been around for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we use it, and we often didn't realize what we were using it. Reporters use Otter to transcribe their notes. We don't use AI in our actual writing, reporting, and that nature. But I mean, obviously, there's tools that help you do your job better, or more efficiently, I should say. We are actually, as you know, we're just a 2-year-old organization. Um, so we launched in December of 2023. So we are figuring out our AI policy. We're actually trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? What should we do? What is the right way to go? How do we balance what's the needs versus like the reality? So we're still figuring AI out. And I think it's one of those things that is evolving, and we'll constantly be refiguring AI out, figuring AI out and revisiting it just because most things are happen quicker. Technology happens quicker than what we're ready for, usually. We're usually behind the eight ball when it comes to technology. I think about the internet when it comes to journalism, how we didn't take the internet seriously when it first came on the scene. We're just like, oh yeah, much like radio didn't take TV seriously.
Right.
We did not take the changes that this would put up on us seriously enough until it was way late. We were really, really behind on figuring out how to use the internet. I don't know if you can remember, but it's just kind of like a throwaway. Oh, put that up on the website.
Hmm.
And then we gave the news away, but you charge people for the print product. And so people were like, why am I paying for this when I can get everything online? And then we also train people to think that it should be free online. And then we came back later and said, oh, no, we're going to put a paywall up. So what do people do? Find ways to get around the paywalls.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's because it's constantly evolving. Thankfully, everything we do is free. That's part of our mission. That's what it will always be free. And we also share all of our content. Anyone can republish our work. We're fine with that. But yeah, AI is something that and we're battling data centers in our city as well. So that's why I say it's continuously evolving.
Yeah, I saw. I think I saw a story on your website just today about data centers coming in and
Mhm,
about that stuff. That's a big. That's not happening where I am, but I notice this becoming a bigger
mhm,
storyline in different areas like that and everything.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, but thanks for that. I like hearing out different people. Otter AI comes up on almost every episode of these local media orgs. Almost everybody. The transcription stuff is super valuable and
Yes,
helpful.
yes, I think every reporter in this newsroom has Otter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I use it too. I use it in most of my calls because otherwise my brain just forgets about stuff immediately after I hop off a
Yeah.
call. That's super helpful. I didn't have this in the questions, but you brought it up that Irmin, Mirror Indy, sorry, not Irmindy. Mirror Indy is just 2 years old, and another theme on the show is kind of sustainability stuff, like actually making a sustainable business. Is Mirror Indy, is it a for profit? Is it a nonprofit? Like how are the bills being paid? Do you have ads, subscriptions? Like what are you doing along those lines?
We are a nonprofit newsroom. We are a newsroom of Free Press Indiana. So when we first got going, as many people know, American Journalism Project helped
Mhm.
to get this newsroom going. And so we were Indiana Local News Initiative. That was our placeholder name. And we came together, the people who were working here at the time, Ariana Beatty, our community journalism director, who was the first hire, Ebony Chappelle, our director of brand and marketing strategy, and Karen Ferguson Fusen, who is our one of the co-founders. It's her baby, her idea, and also board chair. So we were coming up with names, and we chose Mirror Indy for the newsroom, and Free Press Indiana is our support organization. To make a long story short, I was giving you some
Okay.
background history. So they're our support organization, and they are tasked with raising the money for us, doing the HR work, and uh, the all the things that make a business happen. We're the newsroom. That's our focus is the newsroom. And then
Mhm.
their task also is to launch other newsrooms across the state of Indiana. Right now, they are in the midst of their statewide initiative, so there'll be some things coming soon that we'll see from statewide from Free Press Indiana. So, yeah, our development team raises funds. We are primarily donation, philanthropy, big grants, big donations, but little donations that when we have donors, we call our members. So that helps to raise money. We did not have a advertising way to raise money through advertising at first because we didn't have anyone to actually do that. So now we have someone on the development team whose job it is to bring in ads. So that is a part of our revenue stream. We want to have a diverse revenue stream so that we're not just totally dependent on one form of revenue to come in. But yeah, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I just kind of want to get a kind of overview of how it works, and I have folks from all different kinds, for profit, nonprofit. There, I think there's space for all of them. They all have benefits and drawback,
Mhm.
both sides and everything. So, yeah, no, that's perfect. That totally answered it. Um, where was my I lost my questions, sorry. I've been asking kinda everybody recently, the media landscape and the local media landscape is constantly changing, and it's, like, accelerating over the last 25 years, whatever you wanna call it. From where you're sitting, where do you see Mirror Indie in 5 years? And where do you hope it goes in 5 years? And yourself too. What's it look like 5 years down the line, like, in an ideal world?
Well, we're still here. We're still here with sustainable. I'm still here. I'm still editor in chief. We are a trusted local news source. We are dependable, reliable, that people know us, that we have, we're their first news source. They think, let's go to Mirror Indy. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more than to be a trusted news source, reliable. And in here, I mean, yeah, if we're trusted, people will come to us, and that is a big thing. And coming from not even existing, to not even having a name, to coming from scratch, and then to be where we are in 2 years, going into our third, like, this is exciting just to see the growth that we have, and just take that and just to be better and dig deeper and to hone in on our skills and just do community more intentionally every single day, every single year, like, to do accountability, all those things, like, that's what I see us doing in 5 years. What we're doing now, but even more so, because 'cause we'll have a bigger impact. More people will know who we are, and they'll come to us with their stories, So it's just continual growth until we, like Pink in the Brain, take over the world.
I love that reference. That's great. Very cool. I'll be watching along and rooting for you.
Thank you.
That's all the stuff I had put together. Where can people find you online? What do you want me to link to or promote or anything like that?
MirrorIndy.org, obviously, and then our social media sites. Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm sorry, not LinkedIn. Well, they can find us on LinkedIn too. I shouldn't say not LinkedIn. I want to find us wherever, but every place on our website has all the links to everything we're on. If that helps you at all.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll link to all that. Um, Ashia, thank you so much for joining me. This is great. It was great to meet you.
thank you.
And
It was a great time.
yeah, and you have a great day.
Thank you, you too.